Bob, I had another email from Elon.
You did?
Yes, and he wants to know the 5 things we did recently, because he said he's almost done with Doge, and maybe you have a separate opinion. Is he done? Where do you think it is?
I don't know.
And also, Mr. Trump said that Elon may be gone too. No, Doge may be gone. So you heard anything on that?
You know, first find out what's the best time to go down and do it. It might be all the time, it might not. And then I'm going down to things like planning and zoning and the building department, because that's where the plans might be. They might be in land records, but, you know, not necessarily. You know, you might find some things on file easier in planning and zoning and building.
Hi, Tom Hill again here at Strike Zone Studios in Upper Higher Wolcott with Bob the Builder. Hello, Bob.
How you doing, Tom?
Bob, I had another email from Elon.
You did?
Yes, and he wants to know the 5 things we did recently, because he said he's almost done with Doge, and maybe you have a separate opinion. Is he done? Where do you think it is?
I don't know. I hope not. I hope he stays around and just keeps slashing everything till we can get, you know, expenses a little bit more under control.
Like that. And also, Mr. Trump said that Elon may be gone too. No, Doge may be gone. So you heard anything on that?
No, I haven't heard that either. You're the first one to tell me that. I hope not. I hope they can keep my stuff. Cut everybody else's.
I'm a giant source of information.
Yes,
and
you
why,
are.
folks, you ask? Because I listen to talk radio.
Yeah.
I read the Wall Street Journal every day. I read the Waterbury paper, now a Hearst newspaper, which more news in it to keep up. And I talk to a lot of people every day. So I'm usually pretty well informed.
Good job. I don't have the time to do a lot of that. But
No, but you're pretty well informed about Bob the Builder. So let's start with the first thing you were working on this past week.
Well, I got a referral from you on a project in it's a habit. I have habits.
Put your hand in your pocket.
Bad habits. That is, you've got listed for sale, and a potential buyer of it that's looking to convert it from sales, rentals, etc.
And what was that consultation like based on his tenant improvement requirement?
Well, it's he's got a lot of, I'm assuming quite a bit of work to do. You're going to a sales location, and there's a lot of different things you got to find out. And we talked about trying to get down to the city hall and see if there's any plans on file from the original construction of the building that might help us determine things like slab thickness and weight loads and different things like that.
All right, so this is due diligence.
Yes.
And what's it like? I always think it's better to send a pro to City Hall or a title searcher. So when you go down there, what's it like? What's the greeting, and how long does it take?
Well, first it's finding out when, everybody's a little different. Some of these towns are different. There's certain times you can go down and
Poke around?
Yeah, poke around. Certain times you're going to go down and not find anybody that can help you. But, first find out what's the best time to go down and do it. It might be all the time, it might not. And then I'm going down to things like planning and zoning and the building department, because that's where the plans might be. They might be in land records, but, not necessarily. You might find some things on file easier in planning and zoning and building. So find out if there's any, a lot of these towns today have everything online, so you can go in and find out, if the building was built. Land records can show you when the building was built, and that
Liens.
Liens, stuff like that, and you can do a pretty quick title search on it that way, but finding out when the building was constructed, hypothetically, if it was constructed in 2018, now when you go down to building or zoning, you're looking to see whether they have any plans for the construction of that building on that site in 2018.
And what's the range of cost for you to go in there and do that? And I recommend people to hire somebody to go do this who knows what they're doing and what they're looking for. But what's a range of value that someone would have to pay you on a big job like this to go in and do this pre-due diligence?
If you can get lucky, you can go down there. I think the one I did in Oxford, I was down to City Hall a couple times, because a lot of times if I'm looking for copies of it, again, depending upon whether they can email you stuff or not, or whether you got to get copies, they're not necessarily going to just copy it right then and there while you're standing there. They'll say, we'll put it together and come back tomorrow or whenever. So usually it entails a couple of trips at least to get all the information that they might have.
And then there's some time to analyze it all with the client.
Yeah, then you analyze it all, and then you meet with the client and go over with them everything you found and how it might relate to what he's trying to do.
Okay, so it sounds to me like a range of $1,500 to $2,500 for that kind of service.
Could be, yeah.
And if you get a job out of it, is there any rebate on that fee?
It can be. It depends on what you negotiate with the owner, because once we define what there is and we get straight what it is they want to do, then it's a matter of is he hiring you to take the next step, which might be bringing in an architect on board to make whatever changes to the plans. But an important thing, if you're lucky enough to get the plans, it's going to show who the architectural firm, engineering firm, what have you, was on that job. And so even if you hire another architect, they have some common courtesy between them. They can call up the other guy, maybe get the original plans on CAD back to them, which makes...
What's CAD?
CAD is just, it's all on computers, so they get that program, if you will, back to them. So they can get done with update their drawings to whatever
over the
it is
computer.
they want, over the computer.
I think it's computer-aided drawing, I think.
Yeah.
For those who don't know. Thanks. I'm Tom Hill, Tom Hill Realty and Investment Commercial Real Estate Broker, 203-755-HILL. This is Bob the Builder, consultant and builder. Phone number?
203-982-3481.
All right, so my question is, what do you estimate that is a cost savings? That you just said it costs $2,500 around there, your service, as opposed to give them a comparison of what they could lose. So they're saving money, right?
Yeah, they're saving money if they can find the plans and you have you find out who the original architectural firm was, whether you go back to them to have them do the new drawings, or whether you get a new architect that can contact them and get their CAD program of those original plans. You're going down there trying to get everything you can.
And talking about pricing, everything is priced on what needs to be done. And one of the things I do in my business with people who need a professional engineer for a map or land work or making changes on a site, I usually can get one of my favorite engineers is Kurt Jones, PE from Civil One in Woodbury. And many times he'll charge somebody anywhere from a $1,500 to a $3,000 fee that we call a down and dirty report. A quickie look at what's going on, what needs to happen. Like you were saying with your DIY, Jeff, having a pro look at it for a less expensive figure before you get in too deep.
Yeah, and then you're always trying to look at, what is it that the customer, may want. There's some things they may need now. There may be certain things they can do down the line. So you're phasing work, basically. So, when you're drawing it, you might be drawing up everything he wants to do, but you're showing it in phases and you're permitting it in the phases that he's doing.
All right.
But
So
does the building fit what his long-term plans for that location?
very well done, Bob. That's enough.
Is that good?
Now, on this, folks, it doesn't cost anything to call either one of us to tell us what your problem or opportunity is, and let us tell you how much it is for us to do that for you. Now, also, I do select real estate brokerage, and I'll take a listing if it's priced correctly on speculation. However, if you don't know what you want for it, you're not sure when and if you want to sell it or who you're going to sell it to, I do broker's opinions of value every week for people. I get a fee for that, and then I'll take it off. If you list with me, you don't have to list with me. You can shop other brokers with it. So that's just a thought. And I call that guru work. I was riding up to Northwest Connecticut. I got a job for a failed property that's in foreclosure or going to foreclosure, and a law firm is representing a nonprofit, and they needed some expert help that had no conflict of interest. So I got hired to do a broker's opinion of value for a fee, do some showings on the building, and look through it myself for my opinion inside. And then they had two offers from people other than me. They just had offers they had, so I have a success fee to negotiate the purchase and sale agreement and get a deal together with one of these two offers they have. And as I was riding back and forth to Northwest Connecticut, and I called you about this, everywhere I go, I'm seeing these new pickup trucks that have these wraps on them that are super colorful with their names and what they do, and the wraps must cost $2,000 or $3,000. Let me finish. And they got ladders attached to them. What's with all these roofers everywhere, Bob? It's amazing to me.
Well, they're not just, they're roofing companies, they're contractors. They put all that on. It's self-advertisement basically, and a lot of them do it.
But is there enough roofs around for all these guys
Well,
to get
again,
work?
they're not just roofers. They're overall contractors that do it as well.
But the roof's a big draw.
General contractors, etc. But yeah, roofs. Yeah, there's a lot of guys. I mean, yeah, I just looked at one down in Middletown that is one building's 5-story, one is 3, and one is 2, and
All attached?
pretty basically, yeah. It's old buildings that here was one, they added another, etc. And it started where we're putting together a project for 2-bedroom apartments, and the roof's leaking, and
No good.
you talk to the owner, do you want a price to repair that? No, I want you to give me a price to replace every roof we have.
How do you does it make any sense to do a major renovation to anywhere in a building without putting a new roof on?
The problem is it's an older building, so like one of the roofs has 4 AC condensing units that you got to determine are they outdated? Are they just sitting there that they've been abandoned but nobody got rid of them, or any of them active? You got to check into the heating systems that are there. Any of them being utilized? They're 2 stories up. So what we determined was they're all abandoned. They've just never been removed. There's a chimney coming out, an old chimney. We got to determine that it's abandoned as well. We think it is.
And that's a lot of roof cuts and holes as well.
Well, the condensing unit is more just you got to recapture all the freon, if you will, that's in them. You can't just disconnect them. You got to recapture it all, and there's all kinds of stuff you got to file with the state, and then you got to crane those down off the roof to get rid of them. You can't just dump them,
And can you put that Freon back in bottles and sell it to an air conditioning company?
Believe it or not, I think it does go back, and it may be reused with other older units sometimes. But that was an issue. This chimney, because it goes down through, and if you're down in the second floor of the apartments, there's a hallway that jogs. And the architect had made a mistake. The building was actually 8 feet shorter than what he showed on the plan.
Oh boy.
So I went through it all, and we had a meeting, and I showed him where he could correct that. But one of the units was going to be a 1-bedroom, and the other a 2. He's not going to be able to do two bedrooms. But this hallway, if we can get rid of the chimney and straightening it out, we'll give that 1-bedroom more size.
And are you just on speculation with all these bids, or have you been hired? Because it sounds like you're spending an awful lot of time analyzing and diagnosing the problem, or the opportunity as well.
I was hired to do some initial cleanup of it was the second floor had an apartment in one area and rented rooms in say 3/4 of the space. And the rented rooms the former rented rooms is where these apartments are going to be, and they were half demoed. There was stuff everywhere.
A mess.
It was a mess. So they hired us to clean it all out, which had its own difficulties because you couldn't get a disposal back there. You had to basically bring trailers in, and so we got that all cleaned out. Now we're looking at trying to price it out, and then I found, hey, there's a problem here. This building is not the size the architect's drawn.
All right, sorry to cut you off, but this begs the question then that people ask all the time to me as a commercial real estate broker. Is it less expensive to build new or renovate an existing building?
It can be less. It depends on what you're paying for property and whatnot. In this particular case, they own the building. It's a combination of apartments and retail stores off the first floor. So they're long-term owners of this investment property, and
it makes sense to get it cash flowing again properly if you can put it together for them.
Yeah, obviously everything has a value to it, right? I mean, if they're going to spend a lot more than what it costs, what they're going to make from income, they got to somehow justify that. But I mean, the roofs, they're not going to be able to do the apartments without doing that roof. And the third story roof has been leaking like a sieve. The only thing saving them is there's a second roof under the existing one on top that's semi-saving them.
Well, this all goes down to folks in real estate. We call this deferred maintenance.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that just don't keep their buildings up, and they wonder why they can't get the premium rent. So if you want to call Bob, your phone number?
203-982-3481.
I'm 203-755-HILL. We don't mind a free consultation for you to tell us, again, what you think your problems are, and also this one you're talking about, the opportunity is to get those apartments built and rented. So Bob knows a lot about financing and banks, and your guest next week is going to be Ralph Richard, famous banker from the Savings Bank of Danbury that's turned into Ives Bank now. And they wanted Ralph to work all the time, busy, and manage 8 or 9 people. And he got to the point that he had an opportunity to go to, and they were happy about it because he was with the bank a long time. He got an opportunity to go to the Community Investment Corp, CIC, who was a certified SBA lender. And you've done a lot of business with him, so you could give your little take on him because he's coming on our podcast.
Ralph's a great guy. I mean, he tells you straight up what it is you need to do. Whatever programs he has, he's telling you straight up what they are and what you have to do to qualify and whether you will qualify. Because it's a back and forth. You're telling them what you're trying to do, and you're asking whether that fits into a program they may have. So he's going to give you the information really honestly, and you know, we don't want to waste each other's time. So knowing up front everything, and they're not just, you know, kind of bringing you along, but they're telling you the real deal is great.
So today, again, this is continuing with Bob the Builder on construction issues, so you don't make mistakes. We're going to try to give you we're giving you a little tune-up here on what the construction world looks like. And with Ralph, it'll be borrowing money successfully. So that'll be that one.